Welcome into RedHawk Softball Weekly. Luke Poley with the head coach of the Miami RedHawks, Mandy Gardner-Colegate. Coach headed up north this past weekend to the USBS Gopher Classic. Got the chance to play softball in an NFL stadium, which I'm sure was a very unique experience. Miami goes 1-3 at the Gopher Softball Classic, and finally time to play some home games here this week with the Miami tournament coming up here this weekend. How are things going for your team?
Yeah, I think we're in a good place. I know our record doesn't necessarily show that, but we're growing every game, we're learning every game and just trying to figure out our lineup. I think every single game we've kind of mixed up the lineup, mixed up spots, just trying to figure out what's going to work for us and what's going to make us the most successful. But yeah, we're excited to be back at home. It's going to be a little brisk. So anybody that's coming out, make sure you guys bring your layers. But we're just excited to be at home and to continue to grow together and just get better these last few games before conference.
You guys have progressively now scored more and more runs, it feels like, with each passing weekend. Do you feel like your offense is kind of starting to settle in at this point in the season?
Yeah, I think our hitters have done a great job against some really great pitching. We challenge them not to necessarily worry about statistics, but the biggest statistic is having quality at bats for the team, and really kind of linking those together. If we can link good quality at bats together, we're having a lot of success. So we just want to continue the offense to do what they're doing and clean up the defensive side and the pitching side, and I think we're going to be just fine in our conference.
You guys have found yourselves in a lot of tighter games, I think, especially over these last couple of weeks when you look at especially the first St. Thomas game and the Minnesota game here this weekend. What do you think is the difference for you guys to kind of get over the hump and win some of those closer games?
I think just locking in. Pitching is really difficult, and you make one mistake, it could, determine a game. And that's tough. And so I think the more we're in those situations, the more pressure we feel and the more comfortable we feel in those situations, the better we're going to be later on. And so I really feel strongly about when we're in conference in those close games, we're going to pull out because we've been in so many of them early on and just we haven't really prevailed. So, did a little bit different things this week with the pitchers from a mindset standpoint. Really interested to see how that kind of plays out this weekend and next week. But just really locking in. And knowing that just because we have a lead doesn't mean it's safe, right? Like we still have to protect and compete every single pitch. And so I think it's been a really good learning moment for us and just really good experience that I think is going to pay off later on in the season.
Alluded to it a little bit, but what was the experience like for you and your team to get to play at US Bank Stadium?
Yeah, it was really incredible. What a cool venue. They actually, I think on Thursday they had like the roof open because it was such a nice day. But it was set up really nice. The dugouts were like storage containers that they like makeshifted, which was really cool. But um, yeah, it was a really fun experience, that's for sure. I know everyone that's ever gone there that I had talked to had a great experience, and I think we had that same kind of feeling. And we were really thankful that Minnesota invited us in that because I think that the student athletes, that'll be something that they remember honestly for the rest of their lives.
How important has it been now for you guys? You've been on the road for the first month of the season in terms of just the closeness of your team with some of the newcomers that you've brought in from a variety of different avenues. How important has it been for you guys to just be able to hit the road together so much in the early part of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a team culture standpoint, it's really strong. And that's something to be said, especially like I said, our record doesn't necessarily reflect what we've been doing, but they're in a good headspace. They're working together. They're not blaming anybody. We win and lose as a team. And we just really strongly feel like we're going to figure it out and put it all together for conference and ultimately win the MAC. And so I think just having that mindset is really cool and they're all unified and They want to keep getting better and keep scoring runs and keep, not making errors and pitch to their highest potential. So I think it's just cool the standard that we have on the team and like I said, the culture. But yeah, being on the road is fun. We have a lot of team meals. We have had a lot of alumni meals, which has been really cool as well. Get to connect with the alumni and get to kind of share their experiences when they were here at Miami. And so it's just been a really great kind of last few weeks, but I know we're ready to be home and sleep in our own beds and not eat out all the time. So there are some positives as well of being home, but I definitely think it's been good for us to be on the road.
Is it even going to feel like a home field tournament with the lack of practices you guys have been able to have on your field? I know you'll probably get some in this week, maybe not today, but getting to play at home this week. I know you've mentioned it's been an issue throughout the early part of the year, not being able to get out on your field. Have you been able to do that more over the last couple weeks?
Yeah, yeah. And then like, last week it was so funny. We could get out on our field, but we were going to be inside on turf. So it was kind of like, do we go on our field or do we practice on turf? And so you kind of make those decisions. But we were able to get on the field both Monday and Tuesday of this week, which was great. Today we won't because of the rain, but tomorrow we'll be back on the field. So, and obviously through the fall we were on the field. So it's just something about being at home, knowing how our field plays, how our outfield plays, just I don't know. Just being at home, there's something about it. And like I said, sleeping in our own beds is obviously a nice like little perk and they're so routine oriented and so being at home I think kind of brings them that sense of calm and I'm excited to see kind of how we compete at home.
So with the midweek game against Dayton pushed back due to weather for now, we'll shift our attention to this weekend. Miami tournament typically brings in a good mid-major and a high major. That's the same again this year. You bring in a Northern Kentucky team that was a Horizon League finalist last year and a Michigan State team out of the Big Ten. Michigan State's already been beaten by a MAC team earlier this year as they got run ruled by Western Michigan a couple of years ago. But just some quick thoughts, I guess, on both the teams we'll be playing this weekend.
They both have relatively new coaches. So, they're kind of in a similar boat as us, just trying to figure out their lineups and their culture and their team. And so, they're good competitors. We're excited to obviously be at home and face tough competition, but we're just trying to focus on ourselves and what we can do to be successful. And hopefully it kind of trickles into the games against them. But yeah, we're just excited to be at home, play, like I said, tough competition, and both the teams have had some rough games, but they've also had some really good games, kind of similar to us. So I think it'll be a fun weekend, and just excited to see our student athletes go out and compete.
Miami Classic is in Oxford Friday through Sunday at Miami Softball Stadium. RedHawks will start their schedule with Michigan State on Friday at 4. They'll take on Michigan State and Northern Kentucky each twice over the course of the weekend. Again, come out to Miami Softball Stadium. Games can also be streamed the entirety of the tournament on Chatterbox Sports as well. Coach, till next week, good luck at home finally, and
Thanks.
we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, talk to you next week. Thanks.